Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm going to spend some time today talking about the right hand and my specific right hand technique. And for the left hand, we're going to work on some fingerboard harmony, and then we'll spend some time on playing fretless bass. Before we get started, here's some notes we can tune up to. Here's a G, a D, an A, an E, and for those of you with low B, here it is. Okay, let's get started. First thing I'd like to do is cover some ideas that you can use whether you play with 2 fingers or 3 fingers. You actually play the bass with these muscles right here. Okay, they've been strong enough to play the bass since you were about 3 years old. They're connected to tendons that go across the hand or through the hand, and there's not any muscles actually in this part of the wrist that you use to play the bass, or that you should use to play the bass. So if you borrow some tips from classical piano technique and support the upper arm with these muscles here, keep these muscles relaxed, and keep your arm and wrist straight, you can transfer this energy directly to your fingers and use it more effectively. One thing you can do to see how the right hand works is to take the middle fingers and lock them, and with your wrist straight, pull kind of hard. All right, and you'll find that you've got plenty of strength there. A misconception about playing the bass is that people have to develop a lot of strength and stamina, and you've actually had these muscles develop since you're very young. If you do this pulling, you'll find that you feel pretty strong. You can put a lot of tension there. If you bend the wrist, which is what a lot of bass players do, about this angle, and try to do the same thing, you'll find that it becomes painful real quick. There's a small opening here that all these tendons are attached and go through, that if you keep it straight, you're able to play a lot more efficiently. A problem, since the bass is about 30 or 40 years old, is that acoustic technique has been passed on to electric, and it's caused a lot of people a lot of problems. When you're playing acoustic, the bass is vertical like this. You can just drop your fingers down, and they naturally hit the strings, and you can play and walk and everything. It's no problem. When you try to apply acoustic bass technique to electric, when you pick it up, you can see the bend that goes into maintaining that posture with the right hand. And that's where a lot of these problems that we just found out about this finger pulling exercise or demonstration comes from. It develops a lot of tension here, and you actually lose strength, especially if you do like a lot of bass players and lock your thumb on a pickup, all right, and pivot, which really forces your wrist to bend a lot. So what you can do, like I said, was borrow from classical piano technique. Keep your wrist straight. You end up playing the piano about like this. So you support your arm with these upper muscles. You can get a direct transfer of energy from these muscles to through the tendons to your fingers, and it becomes more efficient. The first way to try to use this posture is to relax your hand completely in front of the bass. as if you'd never played it before. Try to keep your wrist straight, and that's how it would fall naturally. And then drag it back across the bass until the fingers touch. You can see that if you'd never played bass before, that's the most natural hand position you can achieve, right? Because if it's relaxed like this, all right, and you bring it back, there's no extra movements required to reach the strings. If you want to work on this posture, a good thing to do for the first couple of weeks is keep your arm and keep some distance between the bass and your arm. A lot of people have a tendency to drop their elbow down, which automatically gives you the wrist bend and the problems that we saw before. So for the first couple of weeks, keep your arm off the bass. That'll give you a nice straight line here and get more efficient use out of these fingers. One of the problems that occurs when you try to develop this technique and practice while you're sitting down, and the bass is on your leg, it forces it off to the right. All right, to reach where you normally play on the bass, tendency is to drop the elbow and bend the wrist, and we see the problems crop up again with the tension here. A way to alleviate that is to use a classical guitar technique, all right, where the bass is centered like this. If you relax your hand, just put it up there, you've got your posture back, straight line, and everything. One of the things that people notice right off the bat about my right hand technique is the amount of intensity or lack of intensity that I use in my right hand. Over the years, I've tried to teach my hand the minimum amount of effort it takes to play a note. The benefits of playing softer in the right hand is that it allows you to turn your amplifier up louder, and in a band context gives you a lot more headroom to play accents, or if a band gets louder you can go with it, and it also gives you a better sound when you play softer. Another benefit of playing lighter with the right hand is the kind of tone that you can achieve. When you strike a string hard, you get a nice big fat attack, but when the pitch settles into its regular vibration, it doesn't match the attack at all, so you hear lots of attack and not much presence afterwards. If you turn the amplifier up and play softer with your right hand, you perceive a nice big attack, and when the string settles into its pitch, it's moving about as much air as the attack does, so the overall perception is that you're moving a lot more air and the tone is fatter. Here's a little funk groove that I'm going to play, and you can check out the intensity or lack of it in the right hand, and also the headroom I've got to bring out accents and other things like that. All right? So in a band situation, those accents, the dead notes, the things that you're allowed to play louder because your main volume on your right hand, or intensity, is lower, so you can bring the accents up, is perceived as moving a lot more air. And so when you're playing with drummers, they get the impression that they're playing more because there's these dead notes and things that are coming out, and the overall feel of yourself placing yourself in the band is greatly enhanced. A good exercise you can use to check to see if you're giving yourself enough headroom with your right hand is just a simple blues bass line, and try to make the dead notes louder than the regular notes. All right, I'm going to use the dead notes from the same string and note that I started with. All right. Etc. Okay. Another way you can work on this, as for the right hand, this technique is to place your dead notes on the string below every note you're playing. All right. That requires a kind of a tricky right hand thing, but it's good for you. And that was with all the dead notes